Maya Santos adjusted her ranger helmet for the third time as the transport shuttle descended through Verdania's emerald canopy. The humid air of the jungle world clung to everything, making her standard-issue gear feel like a sauna suit. At 5'4", she barely reached the shoulder guards of her teammates, but that had never bothered her, growing up in Australia's unforgiving outback. "Stay close to the transport, little human," Commander Thackerone rumbled, his reptilian voice carrying the authority of 3 centuries. The saurian's acid-scarred hide told stories of battles Maya could only imagine. This isn't some Earth safari where you can pet the dangerous animals. Sergeant Vex High's crystalline form chimed in agreement, gravity fields shimmering around her translucent body. Research Station Omega-7 has been silent for 18 hours. Preliminary scans show life signs moving through the facility. Big ones, Maya nodded, checking her pulse rifle one more time. She'd trained for this moment her entire life, but her teammates still saw her as the recruit who'd somehow slipped through the screening process. Korath's compound eyes fixed on her with what might have been amusement hard to tell with insectoids. The probability matrices suggest aggressive fauna. The hive mind fragment buzzed. Perhaps escaped specimens or territorial natives. Either way, unsuitable for novice engagement. Zephyr's energy form flickered with concern. The little one should remain with the shuttle. "We cannot risk. I didn't come this far to stay in the parking lot," Maya interrupted, her voice carrying the kind of quiet confidence that came from facing down wild dingoes at age 12. "Besides, someone needs to watch your backs." The team exchanged glances that clearly said, "Adorable human thinks she's a warrior," but Maya had grown used to being underestimated. In the outback, survival wasn't about size. It was about understanding your place in the food chain and acting accordingly. As they approached the research station's main entrance, Maya noticed something her teammates missed: the claw marks on. The reinforced doors weren't random. They were purposeful, almost artistic. Whatever made them wasn't just hunting. It was marking territory. The facility's emergency lighting cast eerie shadows through the corridors, and Maya could hear her teammates' nervous breathing through the comm system. But something else caught her attention: a low, almost subsonic humming that seemed to pulse through the walls themselves. "Does anyone else hear that?" she whispered. "Hear what?" Thackerone's tongue flicked out, testing the air. Maya frowned. The sound was familiar, like the warning growl of a pack leader establishing dominance. Her instincts, honed by years in the wild, were screaming that they weren't just entering a crime scene. They were walking into someone else's territory. Asterisk. The research station's main laboratory looked like a tornado had hit it, but Maya noticed something her teammates didn't. The destruction was methodical. Equipment wasn't randomly smashed. It was carefully dismantled. Specimen containers were opened from the inside, not broken from outside. "Fascinating," Korath buzzed, scanning the room with compound eyes. "The damage patterns suggest high intelligence. These creatures planned their escape." Vex High's gravity fields probed the shadows. Multiple life signs, moving in coordinated patterns, were dealing with pack hunters. Maya knelt beside a set of tracks pressed into the metal flooring. The prints were massive, at least twice the size of her hand, but what made her blood run cold was their arrangement. Perfect formation, like a military unit. "Commander," she said quietly, "I don't think these are escaped lab animals." Before Thackerone could respond, the lights went out. Emergency illumination kicked in a heartbeat later, bathing everything in hellish red. That's when Maya saw it, a shadow moving along the ceiling, too large and too fluid to be natural. The subsonic humming grew stronger, and she realized it wasn't coming from the walls. It was coming from the creature itself, the Cytherian apex. Predator dropped into the center of the room with liquid grace. 12 feet of living nightmare. Its crystalline claws scraped against the floor as it rose to full height. Its skin shifted like liquid mercury, adapting to match the shadows around it. Maya had read about these creatures in the xenobiology, texts legendary hunters thought extinct for millennia. Her teammates froze, not from tactical assessment or fear from something deeper. Their species' ancestral memories were screaming at them to run, hide, submit. Maya could hear Vicia's crystalline form actually cracking under stress, but Maya didn't freeze. She stepped forward. The apex predator's head snapped toward her with predatory focus. Its eyes multifaceted like an insect's, but intelligent like a human's, fixed on the small figure moving toward it. The humming stopped abruptly. "Easy," Maya whispered, her voice carrying the same tone she'd used with aggressive dingoes. Not threatening, not submissive, just confident. "I see you there, big guy." The creature tilted its head, studying her with obvious confusion. Its biochemical sensors were detecting something unprecedented, a being that registered as both predator and prey, but whose neurochemical signature screamed alpha in frequencies it had never encountered. Maya took another step forward, maintaining eye contact. Every instinct told her teammates to grab her, pull her back from certain death. But something in her posture, her scent, her absolute certainty, made the apex predator do something that had never been recorded in galactic history. It lowered its head, not in attack position, in submission. Holy stars! Thacaron breathed through. What is she doing? Maya reached out slowly, her hand stopping just short of the creature's crystalline crest. "Establishing who's in charge," she said simply. The apex predator's submission lasted only moments before alarms began shrieking throughout the facility. Maya's blood ran cold as she realized what was happening. The creature before her wasn't alone. It was a scout, and its biochemical signals had just awakened the rest of the pack. "We need to move," she said, backing away from the creature with careful, deliberate steps. Now. Thacaron was already pulling up facility schematics on his wrist display. 17 more apex predators in the lower levels. Stasis pods had been breached. They're all waking up. The scout creature watched Maya with those impossible eyes, its head still lowered in that gesture of deference. When she moved toward the exit, it followed, its massive form moving with surprising grace. "It's following her," Vexhai whispered, her crystalline form shimmering with disbelief. "How is that possible?" Maya didn't answer because she wasn't entirely sure herself. Growing up in the outback had taught her to read animal behavior, but this was beyond anything she'd experienced. The creature wasn't just following it. It was taking position slightly behind and to her right, like a lieutenant acknowledging a superior officer. They reached the central corridor when the first pack member rounded the corner. This one was larger than the scout, its crystalline claws scarred from countless battles. It took one look at Maya and the scout, tilted its head in confusion, then did something that made even Maya's confidence waver. It called out in a complex series of harmonic notes that echoed through the facility like a war song. "That's not good," Korath buzzed nervously. "Pack communication. They're coordinating." More creatures emerged from side passages, their forms seeming to materialize from the shadows themselves. Maya found herself surrounded by beings that could tear her apart without effort, each one studying her with predatory intelligence. The scout beside her rumbled low in its throat, not threatening, but communicative. The other pack members responded with their own harmonic calls, and Maya realized she was witnessing something unprecedented, a dominance hierarchy being established in real time. "They're not attacking," she said quietly into her comb. They single quotes asking permission. Permission for what? Thacaron demanded. Maya watched as the largest pack member approached, its movements deliberate and careful. It stopped just outside what she instinctively recognized as striking distance and lowered its head in the same gesture of submission the scout had shown. Permission to hunt, she realized. They recognize pack hierarchy, and somehow ... She paused, the implications hitting her. Somehow they think I'm the alpha. The creatures formed a loose circle around her, their body language unmistakably protective. When Zephyr's energy form flickered too close, 3 of them immediately moved to intercept, their harmonics taking on a warning tone. This is impossible. Vex-High said, Apex predators don't submit to anyone. They're the ultimate hunters. Maya looked around at the pack of legendary killers, treating her like their pack leader, and felt a chill run down her spine. Maybe they've never met a species that evolved without natural predators, she said. Maybe they're recognizing something in us that we don't even know exists. The largest predator made a complex sound that somehow conveyed both query and deference. Maya realized it was waiting for orders. Asterisk. Maya's mind raced as she processed the situation. 18 apex predators, each capable of taking down a small army, were looking to her for leadership. Her teammates' terror was palpable through the cum system, but she forced herself to think. Like she had in the Outback, not about the size of the threat, but about pack dynamics. What do you need? She asked the largest predator, speaking in the same calm, authoritative tone she'd used with pack leaders back home. The creature's response was a complex series of harmonics that somehow conveyed hunger, territory, and frustration. Maya realized these weren't mindless killers. They were intelligent beings with needs and motivations. They've been in stasis for how long? She asked Korath. According to the research files, approximately 3,000 years. The insectoid replied, his voice tight with fear. Maya nodded. They're hungry, disoriented, and their territory has been invaded by researchers. She looked around at the pack, noting their body language. They're not monsters, they're survivors, trying to reestablish their place in the food chain. The scout creature beside her made a soft rumbling sound and moved toward a side corridor. Maya followed, and the entire pack fell into formation around her. Her teammates had no choice but to follow, weapons ready but unused. The corridor led to the facility's main cafeteria, where the apex predators had clearly been feeding. Maya examined the scene with clinical detachment. This wasn't random violence. The creatures had been methodical, taking only what they needed. They're not killing for sport, she observed. They're hunting to survive. The largest predator approached and performed an elaborate display, lowering its head, extending its claws, and producing a series of deep, resonant calls. Maya watched carefully, her instincts interpreting the behavior. It's asking for hunting. Permission, she realized. The pack structure requires alpha approval for major hunts. Thackeron's voice crackled through the cum. You cannot seriously be considering. I'm not considering anything, Maya interrupted. I'm adapting to the situation. She looked at the assembled predators and made a decision that would either save them all or get them killed. You can hunt, she told the pack leader, but not here. Not the research station. The creature tilted its head, clearly not understanding the restriction. Maya thought quickly, then gestured toward the facility's exit. Outside. Hunt outside. This is not your territory. The predator's eyes fixed on her with intense focus. For a moment, Maya wondered if she'd pushed too far, challenged its authority in a way that would trigger violence. Then, slowly, the creature nodded at the pack leader, let out a commanding call, and the other predators began moving toward the exits. But 3 of them remained behind, taking positions around Maya in unmistakably protective stances. Personal guard, she murmured, understanding dawning. They're leaving me a protection detail. As the main pack departed, Maya felt the weight of what had just happened. She'd just successfully negotiated with creatures that galactic civilization considered the ultimate predators. and they'd treated her like she outranked them in the food chain. How? HFY whispered. Maya watched the remaining predators settle into guard positions and realized the truth was both simpler and more terrifying than any of them imagined. Because on Earth, she said quietly, we learn to be the thing that even the monsters are afraid of. Part 5. Recognition. The evacuation at Research Station Omega-7 proceeded with unprecedented cooperation. Maya's 3 apex predator guards cleared the facility of remaining threats while her teammates worked to secure the research data. The creature's intelligence was remarkable. They understood the difference between evacuation and abandonment, between necessary destruction and vandalism. As the transport shuttle prepared for departure, Maya stood at the facility's entrance, watching the main pack establish territory in the jungle beyond. The largest predator approached one final time, its movements careful and respectful. "You're really not going to attack us, are you?" she asked. The creature's response was complex, a series of harmonics that conveyed acknowledgement, respect, and something that might have been gratitude. It touched its crystalline crest to the ground in front of her, then rose and melted back into the jungle. On the shuttle ride back to headquarters, Maya's teammates were unusually quiet. Finally, Thackerone broke the silence. "I need to understand what happened back there," he said. "How did you know what to do?" Maya considered the question carefully. "I grew up in the Australian outback. When you're surrounded by things that can kill you, you learn to read predator behavior. But more than that, you learn to project authority. Dingoes, crocodiles, even the occasional rogue bull, they all respond to confidence backed by genuine capability. But these weren't Earth animals." HFY protested. "These were apex predators." "Exactly," Maya said. "And that's what they recognized in us humans. We're not just another prey species. We're apex predators who evolved without natural enemies. Our neurochemical signature, our behavioral patterns, everything about us screams alpha to anything, capable of recognizing predator hierarchies." Korath's compound eyes fixed on her with new understanding. "You're suggesting that humans are the apex predators of apex predators." Maya nodded. "Think about it. Every species in the galaxy evolved with something hunting them. Except us. We became the thing at the top of the food chain, and when we ran out of natural enemies, we started competing with each other. That's not normal in galactic terms. That's unprecedented." The shuttle docked at Titan Station, where Maya found herself facing a very different kind of evaluation. Commander Thackerone's report had reached the highest levels of the Ranger Corps, and suddenly everyone wanted to understand how a rookie had successfully negotiated with creatures that had been considered uncontrollable. "Recommend immediate promotion to Xenofauna Specialist," Thackerone concluded his briefing. "Also recommend psychological evaluation of all human recruitment files. We may have been grossly underestimating this species' qualifications." Maya sat in the debriefing room, still, processing the day's events. When asked how she'd known what to do, she gave the only honest answer she could. "Same way I handled the dingoes back home. You just gotta show them who's boss." As word spread through the station, Maya noticed a change in how her colleagues looked at her. The patronizing smiles were gone, replaced by something that might have been respect or wariness. Later, alone in her quarters, Maya reviewed the mission footage. The sight of 18 apex predators deferring to her was still surreal. But what disturbed her most was the realization that this was just the beginning. If Earth's rookie rangers could command the galaxy's ultimate predators through sheer presence, what did that say about humanity's true place in the cosmic order? Outside her window, the stars seemed different, somehow less like distant lights, and more like territories waiting to be claimed by the species that had evolved to be afraid of nothing. In the end, the monsters had recognized something in her that the galaxy was only beginning to understand. Humans weren't just another member species. They were the apex predators of apex predators, and the universe was about to learn what that really meant. Asterisk.